What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. This is Legitical Response. We cover political news. We keep you up to date and keep you informed with everything that the government does. And by God, the government has been doing a lot of stuff lately. A lot of stuff we don't like, especially the other day. I think it was, Saturday, when they voted for Ukraine aid. It's like, holy crap, what are we doing here? Oh, and they also snuck in FISA, right? Like, we didn't cover that. Yeah, the Senate passed the FISA, and Biden went ahead and signed that into law. Now we got spying on it. Everybody without a warrant. You got to love what your government does, y'all. You got to love it. But we have some people in Congress that are willing to stand up and push back against the machine and tell them, no, you're not just going to get away with business as usual, how you've been doing it for the past, 30 years. We've had nothing but establishment, uniparty politicians in Congress, just the same old talk to your lobbyist, and the lobbyist will sneak you some money somehow, and we'll go ahead and vote in the interests of the corporations. Yeah, we don't care about the American people. Yeah, we're not going to have that no more. We actually have some congressmen with a spine, and they are actually willing to take punches to the face, like metaphorically speaking, take punches to the face to stand up for the American people, because they are tired of seeing the American people get trampled on constantly, just getting stepped on. Our taxpayer dollars are going to pay and fund for BS that we don't want to fund. It's just getting so outrageous. The left has gone absolutely insane. The Democrats, I don't know what in the hell they're thinking. They're trying to go so progressively far left that they've gone insane to a normal person like me. I'm sitting there watching some of these congressmen, when they were announcing the vote.
On this vote, the yeas are 311 and the nays are 112. The bill is passed. Oh, one voting present. I missed it, but thank you. Okay. The House will be in order. The House will be in order. The chair would remind my colleagues to observe proper decorum. Flag waving on the floor is not appropriate. The House will be in order.
Yeah, that is United States Congressmen, the Democrats, waving Ukrainian flags on the House floor, by the way. What in the hell are we doing, folks? Like, really? Like, I had a congressman, I didn't pull the clip up, but I'm going to just go ahead and say it. I had, I think it's Conley from New York, said that Ukraine's borders was our borders. No, Ukraine is not the United States. Remember, I talked about this a few videos back before he made that statement, talking about the war and everything going on. They're acting like Ukraine is part of our country. Like, we're going to fight Putin to the bloody end. Right? Like, no, that's a totally different country. It's a very corrupt country, something that I don't want to fund, right? But that's what our government seems to love to do. They're going to get on TV and they're going to say, oh, we got to defend democracy. Why do we have to defend somebody else's democracy that's not really a democracy? You want to call it a democracy, but it's not. We all know it's not. They consolidated all their media into state-run media. Once again, I'll say it again. Sure, why the hell not? They're banning the Christian Orthodox Church. They canceled the elections. That's not a democracy. That is not something I want to defend. And, accountability is coming. Check this out. Marjorie Taylor Greene calls on Johnson to resign after foreign aid bill pass. If he doesn't do so, he will be vacated. So we've had this motion to vacate up for a while now. I covered it probably a couple of times, and I've talked about it in various videos here and there. And, it was like, it's a warning shot to Mike Johnson. You better get your P's and your Q's dotted and crossed. Wrong metaphor, right words, if you will. But, basically telling Mike Johnson, look, you're betraying the Republican Party. You're betraying the American people. We want to know why. I would love to know why, right? Like, I was excited for Johnson to get put into as Speaker because I saw him on the House Judiciary Committee. I like a lot of his views on things. As soon as he gets put into a position of power, all of a sudden, he's working with Democrats. And now the Democrats are like, oh, I guess bipartisanship is backroom deals now. No, it's not. But the Democrats have gone absolutely insane. So, yeah, we don't want to work. We don't want bipartisanship with insanity, right? If you got one side arguing to kill your kids and the other side's arguing, well, maybe we should compromise. Huh? That's not a good idea. Like, you can't compromise with murder. Like, the compromise should be tell them to shut up and sit down. That's an insane take to have. Just, what are you thinking? Slap these people silly. We need to wake up the left and tell them that they are going absolutely off the walls crazy. Batshit crazy, whatever you want to say, but we got to let these people know that, no, we're not going to go along with your games. We're not going to be pulled along with your BS, right? We're not going to be drugged behind this insanity and just keep on having to defend this stuff like, well, I mean, what's really going on here? No, we've got to draw a line somewhere, and we've got to put it to a stop and say, no, we're not going to go along with this. We're not going to put up with your BS. And that's what Marjorie Taylor Greene seems to be doing. And people want to call her crazy and Moscow Marjorie. Well, I debunked that yesterday. But I want to say, oh, Marjorie Taylor Greene, she said some off-the-wall stuff. Right, she has done some stuff. She's kind of like Trump in that manner, right? She said some off-the-wall stuff. But, I could care less about stuff she says, right? Look at her voting record and look at her rhetoric, her pro-American rhetoric, right? Like, I don't agree with her on everything, of course. But she is trying to stand up to the machine in Washington, D.C. to boot out some of that corruption. And I'm going to get behind that 100%. Let's get into it. Republican Rep. Marjorie Taylor Greene on Sunday said House Speaker Mike Johnson betrayed Republican voters after the House approved new aid to Ukraine, threatening to call a vote for his ouster if he doesn't resign. Mike Johnson's speakership is over. He needs to do the right thing to resign and allow us to move forward in a controlled process. If he doesn't do so, he will be vacated, Greene said on Fox News Sunday Morning Futures. After months of resisting putting a foreign aid bill on the House floor, Johnson joined with Democrats on Saturday to advance a $95 billion foreign aid package, which contained $61 billion for Ukraine and regional partners. The legislation, which passed with the support of 210 Democrats and 101 Republicans, now heads to the Senate, which is expected to give final approval this week. And you know damn good and well Biden's going to sign off on that right quick. The Senate's going to sign off on that right quick. It's not going to be very bipartisan. You might get a few Republicans, maybe 10 or 15 in the Senate to vote for it, but most Republicans aren't going to vote for this because it's absolute BS. And then, you know what they did? They did their old nasty, dirty tricks, right? They went ahead and snuck that damn TikTok ban in on this thing, right? Like, I'm still on the fence about that one. I don't like the Chinese Communist Party having any sort of say over anything in America, right? But our government has allowed them to buy up all kinds of farmland and houses and all kinds of crap in the United States. But, hey, if you want to go to China and buy some land, good luck. But yeah, they snuck that in there and added it to this foreign aid package to make sure people would go ahead and vote for it, right? Like, well, dirty tricks once again. Like, separate all this crap. He done it in a separate package. He split up the Senate package that was pretty much the exact same package, but he split it up. But went ahead and threw the TikTok bill on in with that vote. It's like, why? Why are we doing this, right? Like, I understand divestment from ByteDance, which is owned by the CCP. You know, I'm kind of down with that, right? But if TikTok gets banned, you know, I'm not really down with that because, you know, it's an app. It's like a consumer good, if you will. You know, it's like something people do to entertain themselves. How the hell do you get off giving the government control to ban an app for entertainment purposes, right? Like, I totally understand the divestment from China. I get that part. But, you know, that's why I've always kind of been on the fence about this one. I'm not sure which way to go. Should Greene and her supporters make good on their threat to force a vote on ousting him as Speaker, Johnson will almost certainly need to rely on Democrats to bail him out. Yeah. probably will. The Georgia hardliner is one of at least 3 Republicans who have said they will support a move to oust Johnson, whose majority is so slim he cannot afford to lose any Republicans on a party line vote. Yeah, and you know what? If that vote does go through, there's going to be a whole hell of a lot more Republicans go ahead and sign on with that and get in there, like Matt Gaetz and probably most of the Freedom Caucus. So yeah, that's going to be a tough one. And we might just get a Republican majority with a Democrat Speaker of the House. That's going to be insane, y'all. Johnson maintains that he has not asked any Democrats for their help, but senior Republicans believe they will be able to count on support across the aisle to swiftly kill any motion to vacate the Speaker's chair, a feeling that may have bolstered Johnson's confidence in pressing ahead with his plans. It's unclear whether Democrats will throw him a lifeline, but they have expressed a willingness to save Johnson, especially after he defied his right flank to move ahead with a foreign aid package that closely resembles a Senate-passed version. Rep. Ro Khanna said Sunday that he would vote against a motion to remove Johnson from the speakership. I'm a progressive Democrat, and I think you would have a few progressive Democrats doing that, Khanna said on ABC's This Week. I disagree with Speaker Mike Johnson on many issues, and I've been very critical of him, but he did the right thing here, and he deserves to keep his job till the end of this term, said the California Democrat, who added that not everything in politics needs to be transactional. No, but when you're working with insanity, right? Like Ro Khanna, I know y'all hear me talk about like there's a couple of Democrats that are actually genuine, that are actually there to, vote in the interest of their constituents. They might be a little bit insane with some of their views, but at least they're genuine people and they believe in what they're fighting for. Ro Khanna is one of those Democrats. So I'm going to take his word for it on that. He probably would not vote to oust Johnson. Asked why she held off on the motion to vacate on Saturday, Green claimed Sunday that she's been responsible with this the entire time, but suggested that the move will happen. All of this was possible because of the betrayals of Mike Johnson, Green said. Johnson, for his part, dismissed the prospect of an ouster effort Saturday night. I don't walk around this building being like, yeah, I've said that before. But blah, 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 blah. So it's looking like it's going to go ahead and go forward with ousting Mike Johnson, right? Like the biggest disappointment, I believe, in U.S. Congress history, right? Like I thought Mike Johnson was going to be pretty good, and he comes in there and he just starts just betraying the Republican Party outright, right? Like I've always said, I'm not a Republican, but I kind of identify with Republicans right now because they seem to be the party of logic right now. So, I'm going to go ahead. I love logic, as you can tell. I made up a word to describe logic in politics, logical, like political and legit logic. So, I'm a very logical thinking person, right? Like I try to think things through and work out all this stuff. That's one reason why I'm on YouTube. I see a whole lot of illogical crap going on. So I'm like, yeah, I need to counter this with a little bit of logic. So I need to get up there and I need to speak my mind and make my voice heard peacefully, by the way. No violence nowhere. I don't like violence. I don't like war. I don't like none of that. That's one of the main reasons I'm against Ukraine aid. That's one, I don't like war, but I understand war does happen sometimes. Sometimes you get attacked and you can't do nothing. You got to defend yourself. That's why I've always said, at the beginning of this thing, I was kind of down with that because like, what in the hell is Putin thinking? Right. But, then all these narratives come out and we're starting to send billions and billions of dollars. And then we come to find out, it's paying for nurses and doctors, their pensions and their paychecks, their salaries and all this other stuff. And I'm like, why? Why are we doing this? We've got so many problems in this country. You can't give that money to some homeless people. I would much rather that $61 billion be split up evenly between every single homeless person. I don't care what they spend it on. I would much rather it go to every homeless person in this country than go to a corrupt nation to defend off another corrupt nation, right? Like these people are getting out front lying to you saying, we've got to defend democracy, y'all. Well, that's not democracy that we're defending. They're trying to prop up the military-industrial complex, who already sits on trillions of dollars annually, right? Like their budgets are insane. Their profits are insane. We don't need to be funding the military-industrial complex, right? Like, keep our stocks of ammunition up, sure, whatever. But we don't need to be filling up the stocks of another country, right? Like, and another thing, they're not trying to stop the freaking war. They're not trying to stop it whatsoever, right? Like, they could go in there and negotiate something, but they haven't done that. Oh, they tried some peace talks, but then, come to find out they just said, screw it, we're going to fight Putin to the bloody end. And I've said that before, it's not us fighting, it's Ukraine fighting. And by God, they're running out of people. I've said it. Look at the statistics. Look at the numbers, the people on the ground, how many soldiers Ukraine has. There is no chance in hell without intervention from NATO, without, NATO boots on the ground, that Ukraine can push Russia out of its country. I just don't see that happening. They don't have the numbers, y'all. So continuing to dump money into a pit that's full of corpses, that's full of dead soldiers, I'm not down with that, and I'm going to voice my opinion against that. And sending $61 billion over there is a betrayal of the American taxpayer, in my opinion, right? Like, that's not why I go to work and pay my taxes on time. I don't pay those taxes so they can spend it on BS. I don't know about you guys, but that's my tax dollars. Some of it, not a whole lot, a few thousand. But it's my tax dollars. And I'm sitting there screaming on the YouTube all day long, and nobody seems to be listening because they just vote for this stuff. And it pisses me off to see my money going into a money pit that has dead soldiers in it, like I said. But I want y'all to let me know what y'all think about all this down in the comment section. Do y'all think that Mike Johnson is going to be successfully ousted, or do you think he's going to actually get some help from Democrats and stay in as Speaker of the House? And do you want Mike Johnson ousted? Would you like to see him gone for betraying the Republican Party in the manner that he's done? Because that's all he's done, in my opinion, is betray the Republican Party. That first bill that came up that had the Ukraine aid on it had some border funding in with it, at least. And they struck that down because it didn't go far enough. And now we got the same funding, the foreign aid, the war funding package, with no border security whatsoever. How do you like them apples, right? You try to push back, and all they did was cave. And then we didn't get anything out of that deal at all. So, y'all let me know what y'all think about all this down in the comment section. That's all I got for this one. I want to thank everybody for watching, and y'all try to have a good day and stay legitical. Peace.